Charles Darwin once said that life is change and evolution. He had discovered God's game. Darwin wrote a wonderful book, which he entitled On the Origin of the Species. That may have been his one mistake, the name he gave to his theory. For some, the word origin had the same meaning as creation, and many people interpreted Darwin's work as denying the divine. That could not have been further from the truth. Darwin himself was a believer, or at least a doubter. He seems to have gone through various stages throughout his life, but it's clear that he was never a fanatic. He just liked to ponder things. Darwin's theory is scientific in its approach and was never meant to serve as an argument for atheism. But in the mid-19th century, science and religion were quite intermingled, and the uncomfortable notion that we evolved from monkeys brought on a deep emotional reaction in the society of the day. Not surprisingly. At a time when people believed the Earth was about 6,000 years old, instead of 5 billion, the evolutionary proposal called for the sudden revision of too many beliefs, and some religious concepts were forced to change, to evolve. As a result, the first week described in the book of Genesis necessarily came to be understood as a poetic description and not factual events of what actually took place over millions of weeks. This small intellectual move was actually a giant step for the thinkers of 1859. In fact, the theory of evolution continues to be unacceptable within several belief systems. Especially in so-called creationist thought. Perhaps from the perspective of these people, the mechanism proposed by Darwin is understood as a tool for rendering the existence of God unnecessary. But in reality, evolution can also be understood as a tool, the great tool used by the creator of the universe. A mechanism so pure, so simple, so perfect that it requires no touch-ups or modifications. It seems like a divine strategy, the strategy of the evolutionist God. And if he is there, watching us from on high, God must be as perfect as his plan, a plan that is written in a special ink called DNA. Through genetics, scientific reality has shown that we come not only from monkeys. Mammals and birds come from reptiles, which along with amphibians come from fish. And so forth, continuing back in time, we come to the single-cell organism. We are the direct descendants of one of these cells, the father of all humanity, the most primitive version of Adam. After thousands of years of civilization and 150 years of digesting Darwin's ideas, we shouldn't be afraid to question ourselves. No faith should feel attacked when scientific answers are being sought. After all, we are Homo querens, the being who wonders about everything. And more than anyone else, religious individuals should accept that we were created like that. That is, very, very curious. The evolutionist concept has been disseminated by different branches of human knowledge, just as mushroom spores are spread on a cool breeze. Each new season, countless spores are released into the autumn air by the mushroom kingdom. Over the period of a few days, each organism tries to reproduce to the best of its ability. The primitive strategy used by these beings consists of creating many countless possibilities for survival. Each of these reproductive cells will find its own fortune. The wind will blow them in similar directions, but no two will alight on the exact same spot. The unique genetic code written on the chromosomes of each cannot be repeated. They may be quite similar or nearly identical, but some will triumph, and others, the vast majority, will not. Some will be breathed in by an animal, others will fall into the water, and almost none of the rest of them will find an appropriate place to land, and therefore will not survive. But with luck, one of these spores, perhaps just fractionally rounder or more aerodynamic than the others, will be able to fly higher on the air turbulence created by insects, or will be more capable of holding up thanks to this year's lower humidity levels. And when it lands in the perfect place with the ideal adaptations, it will grow and prosper there where its siblings couldn't. At last, when it reaches the moment of reproduction, its own spores will incorporate those variations in its chromosomes that helped it find success. And its improved design will have a tendency to perpetuate itself in this environment. This is the essence of the changing life that Darwin understood and interpreted for humanity. Yes, Darwin's message is for people. It speaks not only of animals, plants, and mushrooms, but also quite a bit about human beings. Nevertheless, the incredibly civilized modern society we have developed lives almost entirely outside of these laws, as though they didn't exist. Most of us spend our lives ignoring the everyday effects that might benefit from a deeper knowledge of the amazing evolutionary cycle. If we understood it better, we could apply it, for example, to the education of our children, or to having a more active social life. And those who believe that its origin is divine could live their religion much better. A religion without magic, a religion that is consilient with science. It's worth taking a closer look at the biology that surrounds us. This is the only way we can live in harmony with all of the things we are made of. We should understand wildlife, not just admire it and protect it. So let's make an effort to learn an important lesson from Mother Nature. Sex, which can't be all that bad if it was designed by the Creator.